everyone, this is Paul Gale from paulgalenetwork.com, and thank you for joining me today for video game sales. It is January 18th, 2022, and in today's video, we are going to check out the NPD sales results from December 2021. This is courtesy of Matt Piscatella over at the NPD group, and we are going to look at his thread on Twitter, scrolling by section, highlighting most. If you are interested in following Matt Piscatella, he is at Matt Piscatella over on Twitter. You can see that right here. Okay, let's get to it. In December 2021, consumer spending across video game hardware, content, and accessories fell 1% when compared to a year ago to $7.5 billion. 2021 consumer spending reached a record $60.4 billion, 8% higher when compared to 2020. That's pretty impressive. A 1% decline for the month, yet an 8% increase over the year is very impressive, especially considering that 2020 was the year where the pandemic hit and it really propelled people to buy more hardware and software, etc. But as you can see, 2021 just beat it out. And you could maybe make the argument because the whole year was under the mindset of pandemic. Are we getting out of this? When is it going to happen? So you've had 12 months of a little bit of uncertainty. So 12 months worth of slightly increased spending as opposed to, approximately 10 months or so in 2020. Not that people didn't buy for the first two, but you could say that it was increased for the last 10. But anyways, $60.4 billion worth of spending in 2021. That is a beast of a year, highest ever. Let's see. We've had some growth in December in terms of subscription and recurrent spending across PC, console, VR, and mobile platforms. That offset some decline in premium game sales. Spending relatively flat. Hardware down a bit by 3% when compared to 2020. Let's see. December video game hardware dollar sales declined 3% when compared to 2020 to $1.3 billion. Despite the December declines, full year 2021 hardware spending reached $6.1 billion, gaining 14% compared to 2020. So some of these things just show that, well, in those numbers that I provided earlier, that 1% down for December overall, that several percent up overall for the year, by 8. Well, how much of that change was thanks to hardware itself? And in December, here we see a little decline by 3%, but hardware overall up 14. And that's also probably in part to more PlayStation 5s, more Xbox Series X's being available from the beginning of the year for the whole 2021, versus in 2020, you had those two systems that came out in the last 6 weeks of the year. Not as big of spending in Xbox One and PlayStation 4 territory for those first 10 and a half months. Whereas Nintendo Switch, pretty comparable in both 2020 and 2021. Maybe even more in 2021 in the end thanks to the OLED model. But it will be interesting, and we'll have to wait for this later on to see from Nintendo just how did Nintendo Switch stack up throughout the whole 2021 to 2020 in the United States. Let's move on though. As I break some of these down, we may go a little longer since now video game sales is its own video and it's not sharing video game news time. So we kind of dive in, right? Let's see. Nintendo Switch was December 2021's best-selling hardware platform in units sold, while Switch and PlayStation 5 effectively tied for dollar sales leadership in the month. Nintendo Switch led 2021 hardware in both unit and dollar sales. So here's an interesting one because more often than not in the last 3 years, Nintendo Switch has been the #1 best-selling console. But sometimes, due to it costing $300 and in terms of the NS Lite costing $200, you have something like a PlayStation 5 that makes more money. It sells for more because those two SKUs are at $400 and $500. So overall for the month, okay, PlayStation hardware had more money spent on it, but Nintendo Switch sold more. In this case, they sold so well comparatively that even though PlayStation 5 costs more, Nintendo Switch had enough that that's why it had enough more sold over PS5 that dollar spending wise was comparable. So that means that Xbox Series S and X came in third and probably did pretty well. Call of Duty Vanguard was December's best-selling game. Call of Duty ranked as the best-selling video game franchise in tracked dollar sales for a 13th consecutive year. That's pretty impressive. And I'll get to some more on Call of Duty in a little bit. Halo Infinite debuted as the number 2 best-selling game of December 2021. Halo Infinite ranked as the December's best-selling game on Xbox platforms, while also leading sales among tracked titles on PC. This is good news because this shows that if a big quality title releases exclusively on Xbox brand of systems, and it is a part of that Xbox Game Pass Ultimate Day 1, you're just getting a glorified rental in terms of, Xbox first-party titles, it's not going to take away dramatically from actual game sales. So Microsoft's strategy is working. Enough widespread attention, enough widespread easy access and play to first-party titles like Forza and Halo in this case, that some people are like, no, I actually want to buy that disc and I want to own it. Maybe it's a collector's edition, maybe it's not, but no, they want to still buy it. So Microsoft ends up getting some potential double dippers, right? People that are playing and paying for Game Pass Ultimate as a service, and then actually deciding to purchase the games on their own. So good for them. Things are working out. It's interesting to see the different routes that Nintendo, Xbox, and PlayStation are taking, but everyone is finding their own way to be successful in the industry. Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl was the third best-selling title of December 2021, ranking first on a Nintendo platform for both December as well as 2021 overall. So that's a good one. Not only was it the third best-selling game for the month, but first best-selling on Nintendo's own platform for the month of December, and Nintendo's number 1 for the whole year. 2021 dollar sales of Pokemon franchise physical software reached its highest annual total since the year 2000. Think about that. I said it before, Pokemon Sword and Shield recently eclipsed Pokemon Gold and Silver, becoming officially the second best-selling Pokemon pair of games in franchise history. In all 8th gens from the original Game Boy, Fire Red, or not Fire Red at the time, but just Red, Blue, and Green, when you're counting in Japan's, all the way until now, Sword and Shield is now the number 2. It was Gold and Silver for a long time. Nintendo will officially report on it, but I shared the information a couple of weeks ago, and you'll see it soon. And that's pretty exciting. But here, not only is that the best-selling game in, almost 2 decades, but the overall Pokemon franchise, because don't forget, things like New Pokemon Snap came out this year. Sword and Shield continued to sell. Of course, the majority of these sales are coming from Diamond and Pearl. Made 2021 the best-selling year for Pokemon games in 21 years. That is pretty awesome. Talk about a powerhouse franchise. And next year, which we are in right now, 2022, we're having that carry off from Diamond and Pearl that's probably going to last for a good portion of these next 12 months. You'll have some carry through from Sword and Shield. You'll have a little bit of carryover from New Pokemon Snap, maybe some new Pokken Tournament kind of things, but like small on those last two. But you've got Arceus. Could 2022 top 2021? Oof. I'm not confident in that just yet, because we have to see if 2022 has one more Pokemon game that comes out this fall, like another Let's Go title, an actual next generation of Pokemon game, something smaller on the side, a Pokken Tournament 2. We'll see, but it's exciting. It's exciting. Resident Evil Village finished 2021 as the year's 8th best-selling game. Props to Capcom. Resident Evil franchise dollar sales reached a new all-time annual high for the U.S. market. That's good to see. Resident Evil is one of those franchises that, turned 25 last year. So it, like Pokemon, also 25. Tomb Raider, also 25 last year. It's nice to see that some of these that I grew up with as a kid, relatively speaking, 12-year-old in 95 for me personally, are still continuing to do so well. MLB The Show 21 was the 9th best-selling game of 2021, ranking 5th on PlayStation platforms and 18th on Xbox. Digital sales not included on Xbox platforms, however. MLB The Show 21 is the best-selling baseball game in U.S. history. As the market expands, as more gamers become, as more people become gamers and more gamers become, lifers at this point, we're just spending more and more money, and video games have really evolved a lot in the last 30 years or so that I've been playing, to the point that, it's realistically bigger than movies. It's one of the biggest forms of entertainment there is in the world, and yet some people seemingly think it's still like just this niche little thing that only kids play. That hasn't been the case in a long time, but it's interesting to see public perception on what video games are and who they're for. They're for a lot of people, and they have been for a very long time. 7 of the top 20 best-selling games of 2021 also ranked among the top 20 bestsellers of 2020. 3 titles: Mortal Kombat 11, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, and Mario Kart 8 Deluxe also appeared on both the 2020 and 2019 top 20 bestsellers charts. I really got to give props to Mortal Kombat 11 because it's a fantastic game. I happen to own 2 copies. I have it on Nintendo Switch and on Xbox One, and it is great. Of course, what helps it is, 1, it's a good quality game. 2, it's on multiple platforms. It's not exclusive to anyone, so it can sell everywhere. But also, big props to Super Smash Bros. Ultimate and Mario Kart 8, because for Smash Brothers, you're looking at really the most amount of investment ever into a video game, fighting game, that anyone has ever put, in terms of just sheer amount of characters and stages and intricacies, how many matchups that characters could have. Literally 8 players on screen at one time. If you factor in all of the costumes, the color alternates, how many Miis can participate, the different looks of each Mii, the costumes for them. I mean, there are millions of possibilities, and for how much effort went into that game, the music tracks, I should say, over 24 hours worth of music, it deserves it. And Mario Kart 8, that's just a beast too, because that comes from the Wii U era, and yet its deluxe version on Nintendo Switch is just defining this generation. Breath of the Wild kind of did, right? Defining moment of last gen and this gen. But Mario Kart 8, from a sales perspective, is just defining what a game could do if it really is solid and also comes out on the right platform. The game was great on Wii U after all, but it took Nintendo Switch hardware to really get it going into just global blockbuster sales territory. Software. 19 of the top 20 selling games of 2021 on Nintendo platforms were published by Nintendo. The only third-party title to crack the top 20 was Monster Hunter Rise, published by Capcom USA, which ranked 6th. Some people will look at this as criticism and say, you see, third parties don't sell on Nintendo. And some people will say, look at how powerful Nintendo is, where on their console, 19 of the best-selling games are theirs. It's actually more truthfully the second portion that I said. Nintendo games sell so well, and on a Nintendo platform that is successful, they sell extremely well. But this doesn't mean that third-party games aren't selling. They're still selling well. It's just that they are not competing in this category of well. Do you know what I mean? Back in the day, there was some truth that most people buying Nintendo machines were primarily buying the Nintendo first parties, and third party titles didn't fare often as well as they fared on other platforms. Because other platforms, like a PlayStation console, like an Xbox console, they didn't have as many exclusive IP as Nintendo did, so people kind of bought the consoles for a variety of things. Whereas Nintendo, the IP was so beloved that that's kind of what they bought it for, and they were okay with that. They didn't need the third parties as much. As gaming is starting to evolve and evolve, people are becoming more and more fans of more and more things, so you have a lot of the Nintendo console owners purchase, yes, primarily the first party titles, but also really support the third parties. Like, you have titles from smaller developers that, and in some case large developers that just happen to be making smaller games. Like Square Enix is a giant developer, giant publisher, but a game like Octopath Traveler or Bravely Default 2, each of them selling 1 million, that's a lot. That's a lot of sales. It's just not charting, but still, no one's going to complain at 1 million, right? So it's not like they're not selling, just not selling as well. So don't think that, third parties don't sell on Nintendo Switch. No, they actually do, and they do very well. December capped off a stellar 2021 for the U.S. mobile game market as the third largest month for spending in the past 3 years, and the best December on record. U.S. consumer spending in mobile games in 2021 increased nearly 14% to 2020. Let's see. We will skip a little bit of the mobile stuff in between. Stuff like Google Play, mobile games. Let's go into the U.S. NPD Software December 2021 Top 20 Sellers chart and see what makes it up. We've got Call of Duty, Vanguard, Halo Infinite, Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, Madden 22, Battlefield 2042, Mario Kart 8, Miles Morales, Spider-Man, Mario Party Superstars, NBA 2K22, Animal Crossing, FIFA 22, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, Minecraft, Far Cry 6, Just Dance 2022, Forza Horizon 5, Guardians of the Galaxy, Ghost of Tsushima, Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. That's a solid December 2021 top 20 list. There's a good amount of pie eating from everybody that's making games. That's good to see. The 2021 top 20 bestsellers. This is the whole year's worth. You've got Call of Duty Vanguard, Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War, Madden NFL 22, Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, Battlefield 2042, Marvel's Spider-Man Miles Morales, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, Resident Evil Village, MLB The Show 21, Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury, Far Cry 6, FIFA 22, Minecraft, Animal Crossing New Horizons, NBA 2K22, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, Back 4 Blood, Mortal Kombat 11, Forza Horizon 5. A couple of things I'll note. You see an asterisk on there next to the Nintendo games, which are 4 of these. They don't include digital sales, so they very likely would be higher potentially. Also, potentially, some Nintendo games that aren't on here might be if they included digital. And here you see some of this stuff like Mortal Kombat 11 popping in. Forza Horizon 5, despite being on Game Pass Ultimate and coming out in the last 6 weeks or so of the year, managed to actually physically sell. 20th best selling for the year. Pretty cool. If you look at the top 10 best sellers per platform, mostly it's what we talked about. You've got your Pokemon, your Mario Kart, Mario Party Superstars. You have your evergreens, but you still have some new titles that came out this year, like Just Dance and Super Mario 3D World. You've got Breath of the Wild showing up there as the 8th best-selling game of December. Yet it came out, over 4.5 years prior. Top 20 best-selling for Nintendo overall in the year. This should be fun. Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, Mario Kart 8, Super Mario 3D World, Animal Crossing New Horizons, Smash Bros. Ultimate, Monster Hunter Rise, Breath of the Wild. That's that crazy one, right? 4 years in, 7th best-selling for the year. Mario Party Superstars, Pokemon Sword and Shield, The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword, Metroid Dread. That's a hot topic for 2021. Metroid Dread. From when it came out, well, from before then even, from when it was revealed at E3 to the end of the year, right up till the very end, people were wondering just how well is it going to sell? Is it going to explode on the scene and then fizzle out immediately? Is it going to do moderately well and have a decent tail? Or is it going to show up with giant numbers and have a long tail? Well, it showed up with very strong numbers. It continued the next month doing just fine. And even throughout December, it did well enough to still chart on places like eShop and Amazon. And overall, end up being the 11th best-selling game of the whole year. That's awesome to see. And once again, this is not including digital, but none of these are including digital at this point except for Monster Hunter Rise. Then we've got new Super Mario Brothers, new Pokemon Snap, Minecraft, Super Mario 3D All-Star, Super Mario Party, Super Mario Odyssey, Ring Fit Adventures, Mario Golf, Super Rush, and Luigi's Mansion 3. So look at that. New Pokemon Snap was a game that was released and was out for longer in 2021, yet Metroid Dread beat it in the United States. So Metroid Dread did quite well. Good to see. PlayStation Top 10 for the month. You've got your Call of Duty, Spider-Man, Madden, FIFA, things that we discussed earlier. But you also have Ratchet & Clank showing up at number 9, Guardians of the Galaxy at 10. If you look at the top 20 for PlayStation overall for the whole year, it goes Call of Duty Vanguard, Madden 22, Call of Duty Black Ops, Miles Morales, MLB The Show 21, Battlefield 2042, FIFA 22, Ghost of Tsushima, Resident Evil Village, Far Cry 6, Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, NBA 2K22, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Minecraft, Back 4 Blood, Call of Duty Modern Warfare, Mortal Kombat 11, Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy, Mass Effect Legendary Edition, Madden NFL 21. So you see, almost all of the top 20 on PlayStation are third-party titles. Now, is that to say third parties sell better on PlayStation than Nintendo platforms? Or Sony simply doesn't have as many first-party titles that they're releasing in the year to contend with? Well, it's kind of true on both sides. Since PlayStation doesn't release as many first-party hits per year, it's kind of under the understanding that if you're a PlayStation owner, you're buying third-party games. If Nintendo operated comparably and didn't have as many first-party titles, only released 2 instead of a dozen, would the rest be made up of third parties? Yeah, but you'd still have some Nintendo evergreens that would be competing. So they're just very different consoles. The way the fans operate is different. The way the companies operate are very different as well. But can we say absolutely certain that just because Mortal Kombat 11 didn't chart on Nintendo Switch's top 20, that the PlayStation 4 or 5 version sold better than it? You know, I wouldn't be surprised if it did, but I also wouldn't be surprised if it did it by I wouldn't be surprised if it didn't do so by just a small margin, like not, 10-1, like what some people would make it out to be. I don't think that's the case. I'd be willing to bet that, yeah, probably Mortal Kombat 11, Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy on PlayStation consoles outsold the Nintendo Switch respective versions, but not by this 10-1 unit, you know? But that's something that we actually don't have the exact breakdown of, so can't confirm that. Just from my perspective of the industry, I don't think things are lopsided like that. Otherwise, you know, if there wasn't money to be made, or if a third party wasn't seeing the benefit of having their games on Nintendo hardware, they wouldn't push it. They wouldn't even make it an opportunity. But they obviously do see that, no, having the Nintendo Switch versions are profitable. In fact, sometimes that's the strategy that video game companies are purposely releasing the Nintendo Switch version later, because this maximizes the profits sold per console. Like Final Fantasy Pixel Remaster, I think that most people want that on Nintendo Switch. That's why they put it on Steam first, because that's the least attractive platform for probably the audience. So those people that want the game, that don't know if it's coming to their Xbox, PlayStation, or Switch, are going to buy it. Whereas if it came out first on those other platforms and then they released it on Steam, very few people would buy it on Steam as their second. But vice versa, people are more likely to double dip, you know? That kind of strategy increases the likelihood of games double dipping and games in the first place selling to their max potential on each platform, is this staggered release. So, yeah, well, it's fun stuff. It's fun stuff. I'm giving you the facts by Matt Piscatella, and then I'm giving you some educated insight just based off of years of doing this. And that's why my video game sales videos kind of take a little while to go through. All right. December 2021 Xbox platform top 10 bestsellers. We've got Halo Infinite, Call of Duty, Madden, Battlefield, Forza, and you have your sports games of NBA, FIFA, Assassin's Creed. The 2021 overall top 20 bestsellers: Call of Duty Vanguard, Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War, Madden NFL 2022, Battlefield 2042, Far Cry 6, Forza Horizon 5, Halo Infinite, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, FIFA 22, Call of Duty Modern Warfare, Resident Evil Village, Mass Effect Legendary Edition, NBA 2K22, Mortal Kombat 11, Forza Horizon 4, Madden NFL 21, Back 4 Blood, MLB The Show 21, Minecraft It Takes Two. Once again, vast majority third-party titles. You've got a Forza thrown in there, and you've got a Halo thrown in there. But, 16 or so of these are third-party games. And a lot of them are popping up equally on the PlayStation side of things. Now, probably because there is a larger PlayStation install base than there is an Xbox One between PS5 and PS4 versus Xbox Series S and X with Xbox One. If a game is selling at 14th best selling on Xbox and 14th best selling on PlayStation, you would think probably the 14th best selling game on PlayStation sold better than the 14th best selling game on Xbox. But that's not necessarily a guarantee. It's just likely. And in this case, I'm looking at Mortal Kombat 11 on Xbox. It placed 14th for the year. On PlayStation, it placed 17th. Yet even that doesn't necessarily tell us that, Mortal Kombat 11 sold better on Xbox than on PlayStation. And the same thing holds true. Just because we didn't see Mortal Kombat 11 on Nintendo Switch doesn't mean it didn't do fairly well, comparable to, within a certain unit of measurement, to the PlayStation and Xbox ones. So when you see these charts, don't let it sway you too much into thinking, no one buys third parties on Nintendo. That's kind of why I'm going back to that point and highlighting Mortal Kombat in this case. But maybe Mortal Kombat did sell better on Xbox than PlayStation. I don't know that exact breakdown. Let's see. What else do we have here? We've got December 2021 spending on video game accessories declining 9% when compared to a year ago to $493 million. 2021 sales of accessory totaled $2.7 billion, however, which was an increase of 2% when compared to a year ago. The Xbox Elite Series 2 wireless controller was the best-selling accessory of December, while the PlayStation 5 DualSense wireless controller White was 2021's best seller overall. That's kind of neat. And then you've got my thank you to Matt. Yeah, that's going to do it for the charts. We actually almost went over everything. We only skipped, if I'm not mistaken, two little pieces of the thread from the mobile side of things, and we could look at it. It's just the mobile market and the way its numbers are presented usually aren't as fun or as exciting to talk about. But let's see. Maybe we take a little look just to say that we got everything. Okay, from Sensor Tower US Mobile, December was the 10th consecutive month consumers spent more than $2 billion in mobile games across the App Store and Google Play, something that's occurred 15 times since the onset of the global pandemic, with 11 of those occurrences coming in 2021. Also, Sensor Tower US Mobile, top US mobile games by revenue in 2021 included Candy Crush Saga, Roblox Coin Master, Garena Free Fire, Pokemon Go, Genshin Impact, Homescapes, Lords Mobile, Tower Defense, Call of Duty Mobile, and Clash of Clans. So there's still something interesting to be taken out of there. Let's see. We did go over the third largest spending month in the past 3 years was this December. We've got that increase in mobile games going up 14%, which we covered. And the fact that $2 billion in mobile games across App Store and Google Play in now 10 consecutive months, of which has happened 15 times in the last roughly 2 years, 11 of those being in 2021, that is an interesting stat. So I am glad that I went back over it despite kind of skipping over these two the first time around. And even looking at the top mobile games by revenue in the year was also fun because it is good to see what are people playing. I'm not the biggest mobile game player. I play all of my stuff on Nintendo Switch, Xbox Series X, and PlayStation 5. I have a PC that's capable of gaming, not at the highest quality. I have an iPhone that is capable, but I'm not really playing on my computer much. And in terms of what I play on my iPhone, some Fire Emblem here, some Pokemon Go, some Pikmin Bloom there, but that's kind of it. So even though it's not for me necessarily, this market of mobile gaming, I'm happy to see it do well because it's overall bringing more people into the video game industry that I love. And if you think about it from that perspective, having something that's easily accessible becomes kind of a gateway as, oh, almost everyone's got a smartphone. People are having fun playing games. Well, what if I want to evolve to the next thing? Maybe they buy a Nintendo Switch because that's portable and home console in one. Maybe they gravitate towards PS5 or Xbox Series, but whatever they're doing, video games are healthy, and that's cool. So, yeah, good. Good, we went over it. All right. Thanks for joining me. That was a half an hour of video game sales talk with Paul Gale Network. Hope you all had a good time watching. Oh, and I did say I had something to talk to you about regarding Call of Duty, and I'm going to share that now, but I'm going to dive into it deeper in my video game sales video later today. But that is that Microsoft purchased this morning Activision Blizzard for $70 billion. I mean, you thought that the acquisition of Fox by Disney was big for $52 billion. This was $70 billion. We're going to talk about more of that later. All right, everyone. This is PGN signing out. Hope you all have a good one. Take it easy. Bye.